The Purito Sunscreen controversy. The sunscreen that influencers and everyone on the internet loves that claims to have an SPF 50 might only have an SPF rating of between 15 and 19. Have they been lying? What happened? What do we currently know that is factual? And what does this mean for you? And, for the cosmetic industry as a whole. Purito is obviously a cult favorite brand. They are from Korea. They are relatively new, but they seem to have superior formulas. Their products are extraordinarily elegant, they have really good ingredients, and they tend to listen to customers because when customers want something unscented, they make it. They're also responsible for heavily marketing and popularizing Centella asiatica, which is tiger grass, very soothing, very nourishing, very conditioning to the skin, and it can help with wound healing, etc., and redness. And they put that Centella asiatica, among other ingredients, into this sunscreen, in which they use different chemical filters that are cleared in Korea by Korea's FDA, but not necessarily in the US. Now, this is where it starts to get tricky because you see people love this product. It goes on so elegantly, it goes on smooth, it doesn't flash back, it's affordably priced, but people, specifically cosmetic chemists, started to get a little bit curious about how this was actually possible, especially seeing as the SPF ingredients that they actually use are at very small percentages. And again, it says clear as day here on the bottle, SPF 50 PA++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++++ party by two independent third parties, actually, on behalf of an independent third party. And they found it to be in vitro, or in like test tubes in a lab environment, to only be an SPF 15, and in humans to only be an SPF 19. Also, this is being updated hourly, and I am planning a follow-up, so if that subscribe and notification bell are hit, you'll actually receive that update when it comes out. So Judith is the founder of Inky Encoder. It is a website that helps people learn a little bit more about ingredients lists, but it seems that the founder even stepped aside from her regular duties of running the website and talking about the different ingredients lists on products to actually testing them, and helping us kind of uncover some of the controversy that's been surrounding this. So I'm reading directly from the Inky website. You can read along with me. But essentially what happened is that this person has been looking for, and is still looking for, a cosmetically elegant sunscreen that feels great on the skin, that doesn't flash back, and that protects her throughout the day. But when she saw this sunscreen, and especially when the brand did disclose that they are using 3% and 2% of the active sunscreen factors, and claiming that that 3% and 2% got an SPF 50 rating, she was very skeptical. So she decided to take it to cosmetic chemists who could actually take a look at it. Those cosmetic chemists, the founder and sunscreen formulators who she works with, decided to get together and do a little bit of digging. What we do know, because the brand obviously discloses it on the list, is the two sunscreen filters they are using. They are Euvinol A and Euvinol T, otherwise known as diethylaminohydroxybenzyl hexyl benzoate, which again we don't have here in the US. And the other one is octyl triazotone, which is actually pretty special. Again, it's not cleared by the FDA here in America, but it is elsewhere in other countries like Korea. And it is one of the most photo-stable, or the most light-stable sunscreen filters that we do have. Based on testing, now again, who's doing that testing? Is there bias? Is there some sneaky business going on? But based on the testing that we have, it seems to be one of the most effective sunscreen filters. The Inky Decoder's website even says that it provides the highest photostable absorption of all available UVB filters today. But even though they're excellent filters, at such a low percent, 3% and 2%, how are they getting an SPF 50? There's a lot more that goes into a formulation. For instance, you can have different coatings on sunscreens, you can have different sized particles, you can use other stabilizers or enhancers inside of the formula that can boost things up a bit. But even with all of this considered, the chemists, the founder, and the sunscreen formulator got a little bit suspicious. So Euvinol A and Euvinol T are created by a German company, BASF. It is a huge company in Germany that's been around for like over 100 years. They've produced plastics, they've produced electronics, they've produced a whole bunch of agricultural things. They've been in the industry for years. And yes, they happen to create this blend of sunscreen filters that many people around the world decide to buy, which includes companies in Korea. BASF, actually I didn't know this until I looked it up, but it stands for Beschide Alunin und Soda Fabrik. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nein. Wish I did. Help me out, please, and Dankeschön. But essentially, BASF has a calculator for their juvenile formulations, and you're allowed to look at the concentration of the actual sunscreen filter and then the SPF rating that it gets. And this is used a lot in R&D, research and development for cosmetic manufacturing. It's not hard to do. You can go on the website, or if you have a chemist who can log in, go ahead, check it out yourself. But based on the concentration of these filters, you can see what sort of an SPF rating you should expect. And as according to the Inky Decoder, this is actually a very conservative scale, meaning that it kind of hangs out on the low end of what you might actually be getting, which is good, especially if we're talking about safety and efficacy here. So when they plugged in the numbers that Purito has put both on their ingredients, on their Inky lists, and all over the internet, Judith got a 10.3 SPF rating, which is a far cry from the 84% that Purito claims and a far cry from the SPF 50 that they actually claim on the bottle. So they said, oh, no, and they decided to test this. And they first tested it in vitro, or in a lab setting, back in July. And they got the results from end of July to August that came back and said, yo, this is not SPF 50, it's more like a 15. Now again, in vitro is very different than in vivo. If you take skin cells and you put them on a little petri dish, on a little plate, and you test products on them, it is going to be different than if you actually put them on human skin. And so the Inky Decoder said, okay, this is suspicious. We know that testing can go wrong, things can happen, so we're going to test these in people. Now, it's a lot more expensive to do that because not only do you have to pay the scientists and the people testing in the facility, but you also have to pay for the actual subjects who are going to be a part of that study. And they decided to do this not only in Prague, but also in Germany by two separate companies to see what sort of ratings they could get. And when you take a look at the research done in a lab and on people in Prague, the research is not promising, comes back at 15.8 with a standard deviation of 2.4 because yes, statistics matter. And the one in Germany came back with a mean value of 19.2 with a standard deviation of 2.7. So it actually looks like this is between a 15 and a 19 and definitely not the SPF 50 that they're claiming. However, things do get a bit trickier. Obviously, the people here were concerned. They did their due diligence. They paid third parties. This is looking extraordinarily concerning for Purito, but there is a little bit more to it. Before we talk about that, the brand has actually not responded on social media. This is very concerning. However, I have two theories. Number one, I've actually spoken to the corporate level of Purito before, which was very interesting. This was months ago before any of this went down, so unfortunately I couldn't ask them about it, but you know that I sent off an email this morning requesting a call. But I also know that the corporate team, the research and development and product, is very different than their social media team. So is it the fact that corporate has not spoken to social and they haven't made a statement yet? Or are they freaking out and going through some sort of a PR nightmare and trying to do damage control, and their PR company is trying to come up with a strategy before making a statement because, this is obviously a regulatory problem. Could they be in legal trouble? If it's true, then probably. But that gets us to the next question. Is it true? Some of the beautiful butterflies right here actually posted about an incident that happened in Spain where some sunscreens were tested. They were shown to not have the SPF rating that was being stated, but then they were retested using different methodologies and proved to be just fine. And I believe it was public health or the government that actually had to step in and say, whoa, both sides are actually right here, but this isn't as much of a concern as we thought. Is that what's happening here? I don't know, but I do want additional testing on this and yes, other sunscreen products. And guess who's trying to come up with the funds to do that? It will take time, it will not be easy, and you know that my laptop already hates me when I try to edit anything, so please be patient, but yes, that is something that I am trying to personally put together. That subscribe button and notification bell won't hit themselves, but when you do, it'll actually notify you when I do post that video. You'll be the first to know. We do need more tests, but I also want to make it clear that no, this should not be extrapolated to all Korean sunscreens or to all sunscreens that have this filter in it. This might be the case of one brand behaving badly. Or it could be a more widespread issue. Or did the brand not even know? Did they send this off to testing to some third party who lied to them because they were being paid by the brand to do testing? They just, wrote it off and said, oh yeah, it's fine, SPF 50. The brand doesn't know better and it's actually on that laboratory's fault. We don't know, and we do need more testing. And again, you cannot extrapolate this to all sunscreens. This is not a Korean sunscreen thing, because again, remember, this is the filter that actually came from Germany, okay? Let's not forget that. And there are even sunscreens or brands here in America who have come under fire for doing similar things. So this is unfortunately not an isolated incident, and this is also why the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, does protect OTC or over-the-counter products, but we don't need better regulations. We have the regulations. We need better follow-up on those regulations, better third-party testing and validation of those regulations. Because just because you say there's a rule, we need to make sure that it's actually being enforced so that brands are doing it and so that our skin is staying protected. Here's what this means for you. First off, do not throw away your sunscreen. If you have 8 bottles of this stuff, good for you. Even at an SPF 19, it's still a really good formula. If you don't want to buy it again, or if you don't want to support the company until we find out more, I fully understand and respect that. However, to throw this out would just be a waste. I know it might feel bittersweet rubbing it onto your epidermis in the morning, but grin, bear it, and give yourself an SPF 19 and maybe touch up with another SPF 50 throughout the day, or use it on the back of your hands or something like that, because waste is never the answer. Number 2, start to request and low-key demand third-party standardization testing from your brands and products. We are consumers and we have power in our pockets. If we show big corporations how we feel by where we do and don't put our coin, that's when they start to listen. And if we start to request or demand third-party standardization, that could become more of a norm, making sure that the rules and regulations that are created are actually upheld. So we do need more third parties, but it doesn't look good. And yes, I am personally trying to do that. I am trying to get a call with the brand themselves to get a statement. And I'm also trying to test not only this, but a couple of other sunscreens. I actually had a very unpopular opinion about this product. I got it because some of my favorite influencers love it, and I actually tried to use it for quite a while, and it did not work for me. I was very vocal about that on live streams. It made my face greasy. It wasn't an elegant formula for me, but I understand it. My body different. But I do think that it's so sad that an elegant, beautiful sunscreen that so many people loved and do call a cult favorite because it works for them is now something that is not as safe to use as they thought based on the SPF rating, or is tainted, you know, with this adultery, with this mistrust. And especially right now, that's the last thing we need from cosmetics in the industry. So, what do you think? The brand is innocent until proven guilty. And again, do you think it's the brand's fault? Do you think it's some third party that the brand didn't know about? Do you think that there was something else that happened along the way? Or do you think that the testing was done wrong in Prague and Germany and something else will come back here in America when I try to do it? Let me know your thoughts below. Stay tuned and stay updated. Again, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that when I actually post this, you will see it. And yeah, I'm a critic and a skeptic. Someone said, put that on a t-shirt. Boy, you bet I've been trying since 2018. And it's good to know that there are other people out there, such as the Inky Decoder team, who are as well. And you know, people are working hard to look into this now, and now's a better time than ever. Always remember to be beautiful both inside and out, and I cannot wait to see you in this next video. Love you guys. Bye.